Hi everyone, I really appreciate your continued support. If you wouldn't mind helping me out by subscribing to the channel, dropping a like and a comment, and sharing the video if you enjoyed, I really appreciate that. Thank you and enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 34 of Backpacks and Stories. I'm here today with Martin.
Hi people, I'm Martin.
How are you doing?
Perfectly. Now better that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
You're actually the second Martin from Buenos Aires that I've done an interview with.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm not the original.
You are very original. Do you wanna, where are you from? What do you do?
Okay, I'm from Argentina, in Buenos Aires. I was living there for 25 years almost, until I started traveling, mostly around Europe, but yeah, focus on what I do, which is tattooing and painting, mostly graffiti at the beginning, but all kind of paintings I like art in general, also music for sure, learning the guitar and some rap with friends for sure. And yeah, I'm trying to integrate this new fact in my life, which is being in a different context. It's kind of new for me still, and I can tell how that impacting what I do for sure, because what we do will come from ourselves. So what's happening in your inner body, you will create in that line, I guess.
Do you feel like how you're feeling really shows in your art?
How I'm feeling in my hair?
Do you feel like when you're tattooing, your tattoos, you express yourself was coming from within in your art?
Yeah, well, that style that I was developing last 2 years or 3, which you have in your arm right there. For example, I feel since it's abstract, it's so expressive and can talk about many different emotions, way more than figurative thing, like a cartoon or realism to me, because it's just what it is. It's not a representation of another thing. So I love that fact that make you like pay attention exactly how it is. If you want like, more mindfulness perspective, you can really focus on that instead of another thing that's not really here, you know? I love that. And also because aesthetically it really feels and fit the spaces and follows the body flow. And I think that's an important part of art and tattoos as well. And in the same time, I would say in Buenos Aires we have a lot of that kind of architecture, which is inspired as well from Art Nouveau, Art Deco, from architecture on iron fences. And I like that too because I feel like I am bringing a little bit from my country to represent, in quotes, what I am, you know?
How did you get into tattooing?
Well, as many stories start, was because of a girl that we were painting a lot together, and she had already many tattoos on herself. So she proposed me, why you not get a machine and you can start practicing on me? Okay. So the first thing I did with the payment of my university that my mom at that time gave me the money, just spent it, the whole thing on the tattoo machine and tattoo supplies.
So you went to university?
Yeah.
Did you finish your degree?
No, just at the end I decided to left because I prefer to travel, and you need to stay basically if you want to finish it.
What did you study?
Graphic design
Okay.
in University of Buenos Aires it's called. It's the public one there. It's pretty nice. I feel I learned a lot from there, like building a different perspective around things. So I'm still grateful about that. Mostly because graphic design or art is not that much the degree that matters the most. It's what you learn, you know, your portfolio, let's say. Anyways, I'm more interested in tattooing than graphic design now, so even if that helps, the end I felt was not super aligned with my goals, you know.
But you still feel like you learned things, you were able to take things that you brought with you to your skills today?
Yeah, for sure, because tattooing, it's another way to communicate. Graphic design basically is that thing, to organize objects to make the communication functional and clear.
And where has been your favorite place to work?
Wow. It depends. I like to see things like not better or worse, just different. Or I can say better in this way, but worse in that other way if you want. In Buenos Aires, I love working there because everyone is so spontaneous and crazy, and they don't give a shit on getting tattooed their face or their hands. Maybe in Europe they care a little bit more about that. It's more like hardcore and has more exposure also of your art. I like that fact from there. Like more party vibes, let's say. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to organize appointments in Buenos Aires because of that. So if you want to work and develop a nice project that you put many hours on it before tattooing it, that's not the best situation. And I like that here, where people in Canada takes appointments and they know when they come into the appointment, so you can planify and set up a deadline to work on the design and try your best, you know. In Europe, for example, the thing I like the most, that I'm sure it's also available for whatever work, job, or craft, it's that everything is so much connected, and you can easily travel to everywhere and make networking with people. Just the fact that you can take a train for so cheap, and in 2 hours you can be in another different country where people speak different languages. It's crazy to me. I like that because I like to discover different things. I think that's pretty rich on that experience. You know?
So why did you first go to Europe?
By my first time, I was interested in painting graffiti as much as I can in different trains and metros. We have like a thing that it's about collecting different models as an album, you know, with, how do you say, stickers or figures for your album, you know? As when you were a child, did you have that?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking. Like a binder.
Okay, okay, that thing, you know, but by painting trains and metros, because in every city the metros and trains are different, so it's kind of an identity that you can't find that in your country as whatever wall you will paint, you know. And also all the thing around you will find when you're trying to do that. You need to study the place, and everywhere works differently, there are some countries which are more like in South America, the same thing. In the tattoo, people are more like not organized, so you would profit some Christmas time or New Year where everyone is making party, so they don't really care. You can go and paint. But in Europe, it's more about, for example, spending your whole day on there and seeing when people change shifts with other, and then you have to be at that same time next week, to campaign the metro, let's say.
Have you ever got in trouble?
Yeah, many times. And that's the thing, that's why it brings you adrenaline, it seems like a challenge, because not everyone can do that, or not everyone can give everything to do that and risk their health and them freedom. I don't know.
Were you ever arrested?
Yeah, like 10, 15 times.
Yeah. You went to jail for a night or something?
Yeah, every time was like just 3 nights maximum.
3 nights.
Yeah, I got this tattoo myself because of that. With the spray, praying for that. Lifestyle commitment, it says.
Whereabouts have you been arrested?
Well, first in Buenos Aires, and I was younger than 18, so at that time someone had to come to pick me up in the police station a Wednesday at 3 a.m. So my dad got so mad against me. But after, in different provinces around Argentina, in France, like 3 times, and then because of that I got refused my work and permit visa.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Where?
Like 4 years ago, I think.
Here?
I was in Buenos Aires, and on there they reject me. They apply to work in France.
But you have your passport?
I didn't have it at that time.
Okay.
The plan was to make money to get my passport, but I had to change my plan because of that. Yeah, they answer like I represent the race for the society or something like that. So I guess they remind me.
So where did you end up going when that happened?
I just went straight to Italy to show my documents for my family and get citizenship. But you need some money to do that, in case it doesn't work and you need to stay or pay someone for the translations of your documents and stuff. So I would prefer to have money to do that kind of things,
Yeah, 100%.
But I just tried without and get money once there, however I could.
And how long did you stay in Italy?
That time I spent maybe 5 months. It took me like 3-4 months to get done with my papers, but I stayed another more months.
And you learned Italian then at that time?
Yeah, I was really working hard on that. Not from a long time ago, because as I told you, the plan changed, and I already had my flight ticket. So
back to Argentina?
No, to go to Europe.
Sorry, but you were in Italy?
I was in Argentina.
Okay, yeah.
Trying to go to Italy, but first passing by France. So when I got refused my visa, I already had my plane ticket, because that's one of the requirements to apply for the visa. I was okay, whatever, I will go anyways, What was the question again?
So you were in Italy, you said the 5 months, got your
Yeah.
citizenship, you were learning Italian.
Oh yeah. Before going, I was listening every day, like 2 months before, every day music in Italian, trying to watch movies in Italian,
Yeah.
and to speak Italian if I found someone. But I really learned how to speak once there by doing a course twice a week and just speaking with people. I got the job by my first time as a server. How do you say?
Yeah, like a waiter.
Waiter, yeah. It was the best actually because you are in contact with many people every day, you know?
You have to speak.
Yeah, you have to speak, there's no chance. It's not the nicest way maybe, but for sure it's what works the most, you know?
What is the immersion at the end of the day? When you're in a situation that you have to speak the language, of course, you're going to learn. You know, it was the same for me with Spanish in South America. You know, of course there's always someone who speaks English, but most people don't speak English. And I just took myself out of that situation and I just spoke. Make as many mistakes as you can. Just speak.
Yeah.
But you learned French before Italian.
Yeah, because of that friends that I met before. And actually it was thanks to them that I got interested about traveling or moving eventually to Europe or somewhere else because of the graffiti. I met them in Buenos Aires, so then they proposed me go to visit them in Paris like 15 years ago maybe, when I was 17, but I finally did it in my 20s. And yeah, I kept the contact with them. Sometimes the graffiti writers used to come to Buenos Aires too, so I made my network by that, you know, at the beginning. But after, by traveling, I discovered that tattooing is a good way too, and it's also working, and you need money to survive, you know.
When you went to France the first time, you started, where you were tattooing there?
Yeah, a little bit. I was tattooing from before, but I took it seriously thanks of the things I saw in France, because people were much more professional, they took it as a serious thing, they could charge more, and I wasn't in that kind of circles, social circles in Argentina. So I got the idea to become a tattoo artist and only do that as a professional way. Thanks to that, I would say. Before I was just tattooing at home or friends. I don't know. I think at that time also it wasn't that famous that you can be respect and make enough money to live by making tattoos or even arts in general. I think that's a concept more that people have in South America, and in Europe or North America people respect more arts in general and the things that you can do with your hand, because they have less of that. They have many industries and all the technological devices are cheaper because they invented that. So I think that's why they valorize more the handmade things than in South America.
You don't think they're very well valued in South America?
Me personally, or art in general?
No, you personally, art in general.
Yeah, for sure not. Things are way more expensive than services in South America, because to get a phone or a car, you will pay the same amount than here in Canada, plus the tax of importation. But salaries are way less, like maybe 10 times less or 8, I don't know, depends on the country. And there are many handmade jobs offer. So that's what makes the market goes down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many people who want to work and who knows how to work with their hands because they got used to fix the furniture and the cars and whatever they need. And in North America, the mentality is more, oh, let's get a new one.
You just pay for it.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't want to learn. People want
Exactly. They have money to afford it, and also it's cheaper to them to do that, which makes sense. But also makes sense to people in South America to try to resolve it by yourself. If you was paying like 5 salaries in a phone, you would try to fix it for sure.
Yeah, but so you think that the idea of like making something of yourself, being a tattoo professional, like having a good name, isn't so common in South America?
It is, but you can't. I mean, it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't at that time.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. And it was also harder to get inspired by them because you didn't have Instagram. And I don't know, I feel that now the whole world is way more connected, like globalization. So that impacts a lot too. But even now, if you're a huge artist, you can't charge the same as here because simply people can't pay that. You know? So, but to get new things, it costs the same. So at the end of the day, you just have worse lifestyle, kind of. Well, not necessary, but in the commodities, let's say.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference. Like people appreciate time more over there. Like I think for us, I mean, definitely in North America, it is a big work culture. People love to work all the time, and there, I think people enjoy the time. They might not have as much stuff, as many resources, but people enjoy the life. People enjoy spending time with one another more than they do here. And even in Europe, I think we still, I don't know, we take things for granted a lot. But in South America, I think is people don't take things for granted as much, and people enjoy time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Just that it's more in our culture to make different things that just work. I can see that. Even in Europe, a little bit more than here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, and the family concept, to spend time with them, to just chill on the park. Almost a problem sometimes because everyone have time every day, you know. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to break that if you want for a while focus on one thing and work hard and save money, you know. Because no one is in aligned with that mentality.
Mm-hmm. That is the thing. Like, if you want to leave, is difficult. I think leaving South America is the hardest part. And for someone who wants to seek those opportunities, it's difficult to leave because you don't have the resources.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's hard to leave. But mostly because of the mentality, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you got used to hang out with your coworkers in the weekend, even the first week you met each other, and make friends easy on the streets, that will be missing on you, even subconsciously in your daily life, you know. But yeah, I mean, also they don't care that much about learning different languages because they are so apart, and they don't really need that. There are things that you should care first to survive. Maybe it's an extreme word, but just to understand the thing.
Why is the reality? Is the reality. But something that I feel is really different from here and from Europe. I feel like Latin America and especially Argentina, like it's a very welcoming culture, you know? For example, here, I don't see myself being able to fully integrate. I don't think that I could live here for the rest of my life and make a Quebecois community around me. You know, I think if I stayed here, my friends would be immigrants. I don't think it's really possible to integrate in that way. Whereas in Buenos Aires and Argentina and the rest of South America, I feel like the locals welcome you. You know, I feel like it's easier for me to become an immigrant in South America in whichever city and meet people and integrate myself, you know?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I agree. That's a nice thing out there. Actually, for work or whatever you need to do at the very beginning, it's so important to make plans with people. And I think that fact helps a lot for sure.
Well, it built the country.
Yeah.
Immigration builds the countries at the end of the day. So.
Yeah.
And do you have many friends who have left Argentina and gone for Europe or North America or Australia?
I have some. I won't say that most of the people think about that because the thing we said. But I have some because of art and tattooing. Maybe it's around people that are more open-minded than most of the people in there. And also, I feel kind of lucky too because I was living in the center of Buenos Aires, and that really changed your possibilities of knowing new people, as I did with those French guys. They wouldn't go away from Buenos Aires. Like, Buenos Aires is a big province, and out of the capital, we call it, like the center, you will not see tourists at all, for sure. They just stays in the city. And that's a huge difference. You can work with tourists, you can discover new culture. I will never get curious about that if it wasn't because of that, I think. So, I think in every country it's the same. You can't compare the mentality of small towns, which is good. I'm not saying other things because they have their life, they are more chill, they are more welcoming too, but you don't have the same opportunities if you wanna grow in a different way.
Yeah. I want to ask a bit about like the gentrification, because I think Buenos Aires is a city that's seen a lot of Yankees and Canadians and Europeans move there in the last few years. Do you feel the difference in the city? Like if you think 10 years ago to now, because you've been coming and going, you see how things change. Do you think it's a big problem that there are all of these, new immigrants from the United States and from Canada and Europe?
I don't think it's a problem. People who move on there, maybe.
If they don't make the effort to even learn Spanish, for example, and they just want to speak English everywhere.
Not really. Most of the people do their best to speak Spanish because maybe it's kind of contagious, that welcoming thing that makes them try to care about that and making connections. I'm impressed how people try so hard to speak Spanish once there. I won't say that a lot of people moved from Europe and from US. I can see how it's a good idea, but I don't really know a lot of people who just moved. I know some tourists who can, That may be a problem because they used to spend much more money because they have more money, so prices increase a lot in capital. But I don't see moving as a problem as the people from Russia did because they are welcome in our country. So there are many Russians, many people from Venezuela, but it's just the last 4 years, I would say. It's kind of new thing to have people from other countries. It wasn't that common at all now.
From Western countries.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people came from Italian roots, but that's an old thing, like from maybe 150 years ago. But now it's kind of new to see people who speaks other languages. That wasn't common in my childhood at all. But answering your question, I think it's a positive thing because they really want to work as every immigrant. You don't have that much distractions. You want to build your future, do the right things to do. So at the end of the day, I think could be a good inspiration for people that don't care that much about doing the things properly in their work. So that concurrence, it's kind of good in the long term for sure, and they will bring more jobs even if now they are taking jobs. In some years for sure they will be able to give more jobs to other people.
Yeah, I can understand that from, like the Venezuelans who are there. Every Venezuelan I've met has always been a very hard worker. They really they came for a better life, and they do everything they can to do that. But I think the problem is when people are coming from the States and Canada, and they're working remote jobs.
Yeah.
And they have these big salaries, and they can spend whatever they want. They don't care. Which, like you say, increases the prices and makes life difficult for the locals.
Like digital nomads?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that could be a problem. Not around the world, for sure.
All around the world, 100%.
Now it's a little bit, becomes a little bit expensive Buenos Aires. So I don't feel that digital nomads would choose our city just because of the prices. Now.
But it's not going to be just because of the prices, it's because of the culture as well, for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, if they can spend money in the business, I am happy, honestly, because we need the economy to move to. I won't put the thing on them. I would say the government were not so focused in changes in general. So that's the main problem, because that people don't need to pay taxes, and it's kind of unbalanced with the rest of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should start paying taxes for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of a circle. It's hard to tell. Also, local people want to pay taxes and they prefer to get cash because if you pay taxes, you don't have enough money to live. And again, that's because the government didn't do properly with the tax they received. They just used to steal the whole thing for them pockets. So it's not the best example. Try to follow the right things. Most of the people think that the right thing is being against the government, not with, So it's more allowed or accepted the criminals against tax avoiding or against the government institution.
Yeah, I think the problem though isn't with people like you and me who are working normal jobs, it's the rich people who don't pay their taxes,
Yeah.
We're not the people who should be paying most of the taxes. It should be the people who have money to pay the taxes. I can understand as well why people are frustrated with all the corruption, all of the money that's been stolen. And there is no easy answer at the end of the day, you know. Even it's been happening in the UK a lot with our conservative government that we had for 15 years. You can see it happens here and in the it happens all over the world. But in South America, it's easier for them to do, I think.
Yeah, it's just normal.
Hmm.
It's what you should do because everyone does that. You should get rid of your wallet if the police stop your car.
Hmm.
That's how it works.
The bribes.
Forever.
Yeah. And you can't get away with that that's the thing, we don't really have so much lower level corruption in Europe. You can't go and bribe a police officer. Maybe in some places, yeah, but in London, I think if you try, you can get in big trouble, so.
Yeah, but they will never ask you for that.
No. So, and so you haven't traveled much of South America. You traveled quite a bit of Argentina, no?
Yeah, all around Argentina, which is very big and different.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite city or place, town?
Depends on what. If I want to get crazy, Buenos Aires for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to chill, Cordoba.
Mm-hmm.
The place is so nice, there's a huge nature and many little rivers all around the city and close. Mendoza has nice mountains and wine. Otherwise, yeah, you have the glaciers in the south, the big falls in the north, and desert with like native culture from there, which is nice and different too. You have the gauchos culture, which is kind of cowboy, but not the same because they were against the rich people, not with, but look similar. And otherwise, I was traveling in Chile a little bit, Uruguay by sailing because I used to sail a lot.
Sail?
Yeah.
Are you really?
I used to live in a little sailboat. That's why I got my name, Capitan Tattoo. Yeah, and Uruguay is pretty close, so we used to do that in 6 hours, just cross
Wow.
to the Uruguayan coasts and beaches. It's nice.
Yeah.
Brazil a little bit. I would like to discover more South America, but every time I could, I chose Europe because it's just more different and more interesting to me, and also more possible to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. But I hope.
No, you have to. I think it's the best continent in the world.
Really?
Yeah, I really.
What do you like the most?
Which place or what do I like about it?
Both.
Well, Argentina is obviously my favorite country, and I don't just say that because you're Argentinian. I say that to everyone because of the people, the food, the culture. Like I said, I think it's so welcoming, and the nature. You know, you have the best. You have, like you described, everything. You have from the north to the south. Everything that you could want. Buenos Aires is my favorite city in the world.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's crazy. Nice to hear that.
And I think it's just a very inclusive place. I think it's a very progressive place.
The mentality.
Yeah, the mentality. And I think even though we have a rivalry, like an long-standing rivalry between Britain and Argentina from the history, like that's never mattered, you know. Even though I am from the UK, no one's ever really been said
Mad
something.
against
No.
you?
I always try and make jokes about it. Like when I met you, I said, "Yo soy inglés pero salto," you know. Like I try and be funny, but it's never been a problem.
Really happy because of that.
Yeah, no, I think, and Argentinians are my favorite people. You know, all my best friends are Argentinians, and
Okay, nice.
yeah. So it's a place that I love. I think I would love to live in Buenos Aires for a few years at some point. So that's my favorite place, and the rest of the continent, I don't know, it's just the people, it's welcoming everywhere, you know?
Did you feel that were similarities in Argentina and the rest of the South American countries? Or cities?
Yeah, some similarities. I think, like I was saying before, I think people really appreciate time more. You know, spending time with each other is very important, and it's something. Like coming from Northern Europe, we are cold. You know, I don't hug everyone I see in the UK, and that took me a little bit of time to get used to. You know, I arrived then. When I first arrived to South America, to Chile, my friend, his whole family was waiting for me, and I barely spoke any Spanish, and they didn't speak any English. So I go to his house, and he has a surprise party for me. There's like 20 of them, and I'm just standing there like,
What's happening?
yeah. And I just felt like it was such a warm welcome.
Yeah, you feel that's kind of hard to find in your country or Europe?
Yeah, no, I would never think about doing that myself. I wouldn't get all my family together. I don't speak to all my family. So, of course, my close family are there to welcome, but yeah, it's just a bit more distant, you know? And I think it's something that it is important. It's important to spend time with your family and your friends. So it's something that I really appreciate. I really like the warmth.
And did you feel the same in Buenos Aires, even if it's a big city?
I think sometimes it can be a little bit lonely, but there's always people. There's always something to do. You can always meet people. I have lots of friends in Buenos Aires anyway, but there's always a way to meet people. So, no, I think it's really nice.
Nice.
And for the rest of South America, all the other countries, I think everywhere has its charm. Everywhere has something special, something unique. Again, the people are always welcoming. Everything's so friendly. And even being people get surprised, like when I say about being a vegetarian, and they're like, "But what did you eat?" And there's still a lot of food that you can eat, you know.
Yeah, it's not that common there, right?
It's not that common, but there's always things to eat, and in all the cities you can find a veggie place.
Yeah.
It's very inclusive.
Yeah, now yes, for sure.
Buenos Aires is probably the best city for vegan food that I've been to.
Yeah, I see.
Did
But
you-
just in the capital.
Did you try some of the places that I showed you?
Yeah, because of my girlfriend.
Mhm.
She's vegetarian too. So, but I love meat, bro. And every time I'm there, I just need to
That's how.
feel that missing that I will feel the rest of the year. You know? Here I don't care that much about eating meat because it's not the same meat. I can be vegetarian here for sure.
Yeah.
But that's also like a cultural thing to share. Okay, let's do this. So if you do the same, you will just eat meat every day, 3 times a day.
It is part of the tradition. I get that, but I still think like people are very inclusive. You know?
Yeah.
Even when I tell people,
They won't get mad.
no. Sometimes they don't understand, but when I explain, they say no problem.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to hear that. Because the rest of the country is to say that people in Buenos Aires are more like fast life, they don't care about other people, they were not that welcoming, but I guess that's because they are so much welcoming, even if people in Buenos Aires are welcoming. It's nice to hear that.
Yeah, I've been in Buenos Aires from people from other provinces, like, and they say, but when I'm from Córdoba and I have to disguise my accent because otherwise they take advantage, blah blah blah. But I think it's just a paranoid thought. I don't think porteños are really that bad.
Do you feel safe in South America, in different places?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Only one time it was like 5 a.m. in Rio, in lapa.
Okay.
And two guys came up with a knife, but just a small one, and they left, no problem.
Okay.
But I think in general people want me to have a good experience. They don't want me to get in trouble, they don't want someone to hurt me. They want me to leave saying, these people are amazing, the place is amazing. I think because of that, they want to take care of me.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe they got over scared about you or something.
No, I don't think so. No, but I think the whole world, in Europe especially, thought the South America is still very dangerous, and of course there are dangerous places, but if you walk with confidence and you treat people well, I think most people are good people.
Yeah, for sure. I never get assaulted, but I know where to go or to not, what kind of clothes I should wear in that specific area, They can tell where you're from straight.
Yeah?
Yeah, they are looking everyone the whole time, sure.
Have you ever been to Villa 31?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't okay?
It's okay. Again, if you know how to behave, and they will tell that you are not from there for sure. But I have some friends there who are tattoo artists, and that's the most dangerous place I have ever seen in my life, maybe. You will hear shots every day. You are there and seeing fights and people who get rude. They try to rub out of the villa, the ghetto, to respect the place, kind of. But if you are not from there, you can get fucked easy for sure.
Yeah.
I start by painting murals on the Villa 31 because the government told the people who live there that they need to do that as a work to make it more nice, to bring some color. I was doing that already for fun, but my friends told me that an organization on there was needing people like me to do that. So I started to work a lot and hire people from the ghetto to stay with me and work and be safe also. So I really went many times after I show you a video with you.
That's really cool. But that's the only place that you've really seen much danger in Buenos Aires?
Okay, if you're a woman, it will be different for sure. If you will dress fancy stuff, will be different for sure. And I would say you have to avoid certain neighborhoods. But you don't need to go really there unless you live, because there is nothing to do, So it's safe if you ask where can you go and where not. Yeah. Or I used to walk a lot at night with my friends, and there you can find dangerous things. But most of the people won't do that anyways.
Yeah. And have you ever seen that kind of thing in Europe anywhere?
Not in the same way. In Europe you can get pickpocket for sure, but it's hard to see someone who comes to you with a gun or who will physical aggress you, they hit you or something. So because I got relaxed too much, I got pickpocketed in Europe.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I thought it wasn't happening on there, never. But I never had someone come to me to fight in Europe, and in South America it's pretty normal to do that.
But no one's ever done it to you in South America?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It went well because I know how to handle it, I guess. But it's pretty common. Everyone you ask, they will tell you some stories about that for sure.
Yeah, or at least that has happened to someone they know.
Yeah.
I had I have a friend who's from La Plata, and I think he told me he was robbed 11 times in 8 years.
Oh shit.
Yeah, in La Plata.
That's a lot? Or not?
Well, for me it sounds like a lot. 11 times in 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I would say it's normal. It's not a lot, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have a friend who got robbed 3 times in 5 days.
3 times in 5 days?
Yeah, because he's Sherman, so people can tell if you're blonde and, I don't know, you wear different clothes.
Sorry, you mean he's like he comes from German ancestry?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
No.
Or he is German.
He is German. No.
He moved to Buenos Aires.
He moved to Buenos Aires, but he knows how to speak Spanish really well.
Okay.
So just because how he looks.
Yeah. But does he go outside of the normal places or?
Not that much.
Really?
So it can happen, you know?
You have to be really unlucky, I think.
Yeah, just get the habit of not using your phone while you are walking in the streets. Make sure that you take care of your pockets, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
It's weird because for me, in 1 year in South America, no one ever tried. Apart from the time in Brazil, but it was normal, I think.
That's nice. Maybe you know how to travel, or I don't know.
I think
Is your vibe?
Yeah, I think I just try and walk with confidence, you know? And I think
That's important.
Yeah, if people see you like slouched over, like you say, with your phone, they can see that you're a target. But if you're walking relaxed, they know maybe it's not.
They can smell if you are scared.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't know how to fight. I don't like fighting. If someone attacks me, I don't know how to defend myself. But I guess they don't realize, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But yeah, but then you hear stories, you know, like in Colombia, for example, there was a guy. I heard a few stories, and there was one in Santa Marta where someone went for a morning walk, and then he got robbed at knife point for his phone. But you know, I was in Colombia for like 5 months, and nothing ever happened to me.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, to my grandparents, they got robbed inside of their house like 4 times.
4 times?
Yeah, that people just get into the house and kidnap them and tie them on a room.
Tied up in a room?
Yeah, and lock the door to get the whole stuff that they could get from the house.
And this is normal.
Yeah, like that happened 4 times to them.
And you have other friends who are the same thing happened?
Yeah, half of my friends had that situation.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's why, even if it don't happen, it's a vibe that you will breathe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, somewhere in your mind, you will stay in an alert mood.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, I think, makes your life a little bit more anxious and worried.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe that can change the quality of your life.
Do you think that you still feel some of that anxiety here in Canada and in Europe, or here you can relax 100%?
Here I relax 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. I design in my iPad in the bus. I prepare my projects to profit my time.
Mm-hmm.
And in Buenos Aires, I would never do that. I have a special bag that I made by myself to use inside of my t-shirt like this. Nobody can tell that I have an iPad, you know?
Yeah. And in Europe, do you feel the same, or a bit less?
A little bit less than here, but still pretty well. I don't know if it's just because where I'm from, but I never feel in danger in Europe or here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Do you think that you could see yourself living in Buenos Aires long term?
Pardon?
Could you see yourself living in Buenos
Oh.
Aires long term?
I was thinking no. I tried to escape before falling in love or something that stuck me on there. But as more I spend time away, I'm considering at least to spend half of the year in there every summer to avoid the winter too. Let's see how the world changes, because it's changing so fast and so much.
Do you think things are getting better or worse in Argentina?
I think eventually better, because everywhere is fucked up. So if you compare, I can see that it's becoming a nicer option every day. Anyways, I chose to move away, not mostly because how life wasn't there, but because I like to discover new things, and I can't get that from there, to me. So for now, let's keep moving.
And where do you want to go in the world?
I would like to see what's happening in Australia. I'm curious about Switzerland, Denmark. I have been there for a while, but how it looks like to live on there. Just for now that I'm young, I can afford different situations, and I like to work now, but eventually not to get older.
But I think you have a really cool job. At least you have something that's always going to be different. You get to meet people from all over the world in different situations. So I think at least you don't have a job that you're ever going to get bored of, because it's your passion. You know,
Yeah.
You love art. You love what you do.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see how we feel in the winter. Otherwise, we can consider it South Spain, South Italy would be nice. Let's see, if you can travel and make your money away, you can have a nice life there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But
everything's changing.
Everything's changing. But have you ever you've never spent a full winter in somewhere really cold, no?
Not really.
You spent maybe 1 month somewhere cold?
Yeah, just 2 months in Sweden, Denmark, or 1 month in Canada.
But you weren't here for the winter.
Yeah, it's just December, November, but that's not the winter. It's the winter for where I'm from, but not from here.
But even in Buenos Aires, it doesn't get that cold, like maybe 5 degrees.
Though I can tell people suffer the winter, not because how cold it gets, but also because it's super wet, the cold, and it really gets into your bones. You don't have the right clothes to wear, and no one cares because you can survive, but then your life is shit for 3 months because you don't have enough heating at home. And it's so expensive, so no one want to spend more electricity.
Yeah.
In that, the buildings are not super prepared as here in Buenos Aires, maybe in the south, yeah, but you don't have like double windows, or doors are not fixed hermetic on the bottom. You can feel the wind getting in the whole time. That's why it gets super cold even at night. You can probably, most of the people used to sleep wearing a hoodie and long pants, you know? Not everyone for sure, but most of the houses are built like that. So
It's funny because for us we have the opposite problem. Like in the UK, all the houses are designed, and I think maybe here to an extent, the houses are designed to keep the warmth in. Because for us, it used to be colder, and now it gets hotter. In the summer, when it gets hot, it's horrible because our infrastructure isn't prepared for such high temperatures.
you don't have AC at home?
AC is very rare
Why?
because it didn't used to get that hot in summer.
Yeah, it's just an habit, right? Because I guess you can afford an AC. Most of the people can
They
buy
could,
an AC, right?
but the houses don't. Maybe they do now. I don't know, but people don't have that infrastructure. Because when I was growing up, for example, like maybe the first 10, 15 years of my life, maybe for a couple of days in the summer, it would get to 30 degrees. Maybe just a couple of days for all those years of my life. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I got to 40 degrees for the first time, you know? So now it's more like there's 2 weeks to 1 month of the time where it's 30 degrees over there. And before that didn't happen, you know? Before we used to have longer winters, and the winters are very cold and wet and grey and short days, like here, but not as cold. So all of the infrastructure is based around keeping the warmth in the house.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
So when it gets hot, all the warmth stays in the
It's
house.
warmer than outside. Also.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's really horrible.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah.
Okay.
And for you guys, you have the opposite problem.
Yeah, it gets really warm too though, but I guess houses are not prepared to keep the warm
Mm.
as you guys.
But at least it's shorter the winter there as well. Like 3 months is quite short.
Yeah, I would say 3 months are in around 5 degrees.
Mhm.
And
But
then-
not all of the time. You have days of 15, 20 degrees as well.
Yeah, I would say in between 1 degree and 15.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's not that
It's
bad.
not that bad. You wait until you spend the winter here and
Yeah.
see how you feel.
Yeah, but if I am spending another winter in Buenos Aires, I would for sure bring some clothes from here and get a huge heater
Hmm.
that no one do that.
You'll be ready. You'll be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Australia, Switzerland, Denmark, they're all places that you'd like to spend some more time.
Yeah, I'm interested about that. Maybe for more chill plans or periods.
Hmm.
I would say Thailand,
Hmm.
Indonesia would be interesting because it's so different.
For holidays.
Yeah, for holidays.
Hmm.
Not to live, but I am open to everything.
And you can do your job anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, Australia, I mean, we've talked about it, but Australia is an amazing place. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a famous thing to make guest spots as a tattoo artist.
Mhm.
The tattoo shops announce you even before you get in there. Like you have some dates available to take an appointment, so maybe you can get clients before landing.
Mhm.
Profit as much as you can your time with those appointments.
Do you have a reputation? Like, do people kind of know you a little bit around in the tattoo community?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I used to move a lot,
Mhm.
and I was doing that for a while, like maybe 14 years now, 13. I would say yes,
Yeah.
but I'm not super active in social media, so most of the people know me personally.
Mhm.
I don't like to be in my phone. And that's one of the things I like in tattooing because it's so close to contact with people.
Mhm.
You build something, other people, the client trusts you, and gives you a part of them to get something forever. That's kind of cool. You can really make good connections.
Yeah.
And otherwise, like a digital work will be perfect, but I guess it will feel more lonely.
Yeah, and this doesn't have the same personal touch,
Yeah.
you know, like the whole
For
process
traveling.
for traveling, but the whole process of doing a tattoo, you know, you're getting to know a person and you're putting a part of yourself onto that person forever.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you learn so much. What that people care the most, why they bring that idea, then that gives you room to ask what's going on, why is so important that to you, and maybe ask yourself, is that important to you too, maybe? So you learn a lot, I see.
If you had to estimate how many people have you tattooed?
Oh shit, I don't know.
1,000? 2,000?
I don't know. I should make math. Maybe I tattoo like 7 people a week. So for 15 years, 14, I don't know.
350 by 15.
Well, that was mostly like 6 years. Let's see.
Maybe around 3,000.
7, 14. Yeah, I would say 4,000 in my whole life.
You reckon? Do you have any that you remember very distinctly, that's something that you've been really proud of?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes it's more about the chat I have with the clients, sometimes it's more about the piece of art we do. Every moment, every tattoo is so special and different to me. Sometimes I really like the client, but we didn't talk that much. Actually, it's more necessary to focus if it's a hard work to do. So I kind of enjoy in a different way every of them. But of course, I will remind mostly the big pieces that they gave me freedom to create, because I invest more time and energy in that. Yeah.
Do you feel like more people come to you and just give you all the freedom, or is it kind of 50-50?
Depends. If there are people that knows me, so then I can already build trust and they will let me do more that I used to do, because I kind of show them what I'm able to do. But if it's a client that comes from the shop, it's for sure they don't know me from before, so it's more of their idea normally. Yeah, it depends on that.
Yeah, nice. I think we're gonna come to the end now.
Okay.
Before I ask you the last 3 questions, do you want to ask me anything?
My question for you is, as a traveler, do you think you will find your place to stay almost forever soon?
Soon? I don't know about soon, but I think I want at least another 5 years of travel.
And then?
And then I'm open to the idea of settling down. Yeah, 100% I want to find a base, you know. I want to have a family. I want somewhere that I can, you know, leave my things and be able to call it home, have a different passport, you know.
Do you think that will bring you joy and peace to stay more quiet in just one place?
I don't think I'll ever want to stop traveling. I think for my whole life I want to keep traveling, and I think it will be important to do with my future family, you know. I don't want them to grow up in one place and never leave. I think it's important for me that they get to know the world as well. But yeah, I'd like to find a place that I feel comfortable.
Okay, nice.
So my last 3 questions for you today. The question from the last guest, a little bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
So if you were to divide yourself into 3 main characters, who would they be and when would they appear?
Characters as different personalities?
Yeah.
Or like a famous character?
However you want to answer.
And when to appear?
Yeah.
Or where?
When and where, yeah.
Okay. Shit. That's tricky. I would say I will be one of them working in community, the 3 of us, but one of them represent ourselves all around the world traveling and collecting information. Another one working hard, probably here in Canada or in Europe, and the last one in Buenos Aires, just hanging out with family and friends.
Yeah, that would be the best of everything. Nice.
So for now, let's just try to split the time to do the 3 of them.
Nice. Very good. What question would you like to ask the next guest?
If the same I asked you, can I?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be my question. Where, if they feel that they will find their place to stay soon.
Nice. And finally, what message would you like to share in your language?
Pardon?
What message would you like to share in your language?
Okay. La vida es corta, hacela corta. Lo que tengas ganas de hacer, hacelo, porque seguro te va a llevar a otro lugar que no te hubieras imaginado antes.
Nice. And can you translate for anyone who doesn't understand?
That's untranslatable. No, joking. Just whatever you want to do, just try to do it. At least you will realize if it was where you were looking for or not. Anyways, I think it's important to move forward to a new place every time and keep moving. Don't be scared. Yeah, remember you will die.
Very true. Time is not forever.
Yeah,
Our time, at least. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was nice. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Our first time speaking properly in English as well.
Yeah, we are speaking Spanish every time.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. This has been episode 34 of Backpacks and Stories.